holding your body very still and just observing whatever moves in the mind stream, including the six sense fields. Just observe, observe, observe. Make no comment. You can do that. It's very simple, but it can be very complicated. That's why we call it a practice, a practice. Don't worry about results, just intend. You can do this. Been done by men and women for centuries and centuries. Just observe. Those of you in the Zendo, please gather in front of the altar. Those of you on Zoom, please gather in front of your computer screens. I assume there's more than one screen out there. Looks like it. So we have over a dozen people here in the Zendo and 20 or so people on Zoom. And this evening's Dharma talk is titled, what did I title it? Is that the title or something?
Escape to consciousness.
What?
Escape to consciousness.
Yes, it can't exactly do this, but it's a way of get us into a conversation, possibly, even to make it some Q&A. Escape, get away to consciousness. So it's escape to consciousness. You have passion, aggression, ignorance. You have all kinds of stuff arising, creating a situation where we fight with our world. We justify it. We can believe our thoughts. Somebody actually did this or did that, and we'll attack others because of what they did, with no respect for the confusion they're going through. None. Or at least very little. So if you have not seen your own passion, aggression, ignorance, you'll foist it upon others, thinking that it's coming from them. It's an astonishing part of the illusion we are deluded by. I'm not here to give you a way to solve problems or not have difficulties. I'm probably going to feel the opposite if you hang around me very much. It's about looking at the delusion. It's about looking at it. You cannot do this. And am I positive? I'm not positive you couldn't do it some other way. Maybe if you find out a way, come on, let's talk about it. But it looks like you have to hold, because it's the nature of the confusion is movement. Circles in the mind stream, coming and going. I like it, I don't like it, it's good, it's bad. And you've heard me say this hundreds of times. Hold still that which you have a little bit of say so about, which is your body. Hold still. Watch, observe the movement. It's all meditation in most camps. It's taught different ways. I've learned many different ways. I've spent literally hundreds, if not thousands of hours practicing a way other than the way I teach. And I've also spent hundreds of hours teaching or studying and practicing the way that I teach. I've been doing this a long time. I'm trying to get a few credentials here before I start. So it just means I've done it a long time. So I've spent a lot of time grasping, rejecting, shutting down, grasping at my thoughts. I believe it. I believe this. It's obvious this is true. We have something comes up. Is it true? Well, obviously. Or is this not true? Obviously. Big O word, which is not observed. So the talk that I'm endeavoring to give tonight is to encourage you, each one of you. Some of you may be inches away from fundamental awakening. Good for you. I'm glad. Keep going. Everyone's karma is so different. Everyone's causes and conditions are so incredibly different than the person sitting right next to you. Just, they're so different that you can't even compare them. It just doesn't work, because there are literally countless things that are rising and ceasing and hanging around in the body-mind complex or in the consciousness that are not only untraceable, you cannot see them. If you think you can think, you can't. You are thought. You're being thought all the time. Karma is thinking you. The very last 20 minutes of your life has been thinking arising that you believe you're doing. And again, I would say this to you with great certitude. Don't believe me. I don't want you to believe what I'm saying. I want you to, what, look at it yourself. I'm just telling you what I'm seeing. Maybe much different than what you see. But rather than disagree with what I'm saying, or agree with what I'm saying, or ignore what I'm saying, you find out. The one thing I'm telling you that I know is absolutely true is you're going to have to see this. You will die. I'm not here to preach hellfire and brimstone, but this body mind that you love so dearly, that you think you've always been around somehow, it's going down. It's going to pass away. Before it does, find out who you are. Don't get your identity from me or anyone. Don't get it from Buddhism. Don't get it from anything, from anyone. Don't get it from anything. Don't get it from drugs. If you're going to get it from something, get it from consciousness, that which receives. So when I escape, first you have to feel like you're a little bit imprisoned by the emotions that you can't seem to get rid of or explain. Or it's that feeling of, what am I feeling this way for? Or why is that coming? Why is that going? I was doing fine for 3 weeks and suddenly I'm what's the cultural word? A funk. This is not good. Consciousness, awareness about what this is. Before I started teaching this, I spent a little over 30 years practicing it. I did what I'm telling you to do. Sit down, hold still, look at the wall, sit symmetrical, and observe what this is, which is going to be a lot of confusion, a lot of chaos, a lot of circularity. Don't fix it. Don't correct it. Be respectful to your confusion. You're not going to be able to work with this unless you very much respect this, which means you will not buy into what the ego is trying to get you to do. Play with it. Don't feel that way. But don't do this or do that, or take this drug, or take this medication, or take, or do this, or sit in a special posture, or do this special mantra. All I'm telling you is very simple. I teach some mantras. I teach a little bit of that. I teach a few other ways of working with the consciousness, like opening the eye mind, working with artwork. But I don't think you have to do any of those. The thing that I think you should do, maybe you could say have to do, is see who you are. Don't get your identity from your emotions, your thoughts. Those are unreal. I don't care how shitty you feel. That is not true. And if you think it's true, you'll either blame yourself, make yourself miserable for the way you feel, or you'll blame a situation or a person or something else, and you find a way of downloading your feelings on others. That can go on for years and years, decades, especially if you have no mind training at all. You have no way of working with it. And this old man sitting here is just telling you, you can see that this is possible. I don't even know if I could say it's likely, but it's possible. You might have to put a lot of energy into it. If I'm sitting here and I'm seeing someone who sits and faces the wall day in and day out and day in and day out, and I see another person who sits very little, do I jump to a conclusion? Well, this person's going to attain awakening, but this is not. No, I don't know. I'm saying how it looks. You're going to have to you're going to have to find some stillness. You're going to have to find some silence. And it looks like you're going to have to do it by holding the body still. So escape. Is it an escape? Probably not, because what you're escaping from, you're going to have to look at. In other words, you need to look at the bars. You need to look at the lock, to use those examples and see what this is. And eventually I am insofar as I hope for any damn thing, I'm hoping you're gonna see the key right in your hand to unlock yourself from this. And what is that key? What is this key? You know? You know?
Awareness.
Awareness. It's just awareness. It's that simple. Why did you say so? It's awareness, but the awareness means that you have to sit still and prioritize the awareness of what's arising rather than what is arising, because what is arising, passion, aggression, and ignorance will tie you in knots. Those are the three poisons. It will just tie you up and give you the illusion you're getting somewhere. Feels like footprints through the snow. It is not. That's unreal. Eventually you will look down and see you've not left a single print. Nothing has been left in the snow. There was no snow. It may take a long time to see that consciousness is being diluted by the illusion. Questions? Yes.
Beyond bowing, can awareness or lack of be known by the conceptual mind?
Can awareness be what now?
Can awareness or the lack of being known by the conceptual thinking mind?
Can it be known by the conceptual mind? Not without going in circles. Which can look like Friedrich Nietzsche can look extremely powerful and intelligent. But it will create an incredibly powerful intellectual circle of understanding Plato. And it's been done with music. It's been done with visual art. But more about that if you have.
Beyond bowing, I'm thinking about awareness as a key.
And what?
As awareness as a key.
It's a key, yes.
And then I think of awareness of what, but then that seems to be the leading edge of that circle.
You have to observe the rotation without stopping it. Observe the rotation or the differentiation in desire, if you understand those, as I'm using them, without interfering. You can't interfere. You can't meddle with your mind stream. If you do, it creates the illusion of a self who's succeeding or failing or just confused, just not finding it. It creates a kind of identity around success, failure, and ignorance. More.
Beyond bowing, you say the phrase just observe. And I'm just wondering what is just observing have
What?
to do with awareness? How?
A consciousness is observing, and ego mind, self-centered mind, the grasping, rejecting, shutting down, that's involved in it too. It's all mixed together with awareness. Awareness, the three poisons are interlaced with awareness. They can't function without awareness. In one sense, they are awareness, but they are trapped and controlled by the grasping part, the rejecting part, and the shutting down. Awareness doesn't do anything but watch trees grow.
Beyond bowing, what is not truth?
Oh, come on. What is not truth? What do you want to know? You're starting to disappoint me. You had me pretty impressed there for a while.
Good.
Come on, what is it?
Well, you speak of knowing, well, maybe don't. Seeing the truth for yourself kind of sets up this duality of something not being true. So I'm wondering what it, so I'm just
Oh, you're
pointing
looking at
into
it.
that.
You're looking at truth. You just think it's something else. So you are looking at it. If you can look at what this is, if you can actually look at what this is, you will not see anything. I have no doubts. You will not see anything. If you see something, that's illusion. But then if you see something that you believe is right or wrong or up or down, back or forth, then it's you're deluded by the illusion. So there's different areas there of consciousness that where you just see it. It's illusory. It's like watching a dream as you're having it. It's like one of the teachings that I give is you don't care what happens. It's not that you aren't very, very attentive to the difficulty that this person is inflicting on this other person, but you see what it is, then you know exactly how much you can meddle or interfere with that and how much you should mind your own business. You see it. You see it actually. You actually see it because you're not separate from it. It's like watching your own hand melt. It is that intimate and it is that painful. What are you looking for when your eyes go this way and that way?
And the second
searching
half of
your
my
brain.
question,
Huh?
the second half of my question,
Oh.
but I didn't find it, so thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me torture.
Come. Need to.
Anyone else here in the Zendo, please don't hesitate. Help me, help them, help us, help you. Yes,
Nathan Bowing.
Nathan.
Why do thoughts seem to have such an addictive quality? I see myself just thinking like, man, if I indulge in those, they're just gonna make me sick, but I do it anyways.
I think the way of talking about it is that we are so addicted to the presence of somebody that can be harmed, somebody that can be liberated, somebody that can feel good, somebody that can. We're addicted to the sense of a self in the consciousness, and so we want to do something about that. The only power we have, it seems, is to think about it and conclude and go here, go there, go here, go there. It can be very, very, but addictive. More. It's a good area to
Nathan
talk
Bowing,
about.
do you have any suggestions for breaking that addiction?
It's very interesting. I never talk about breaking anything. Other teachers teach different ways, and they should do whatever they want to do. I say, look at it, observe it, watch how it's, even up to and including the point of worth. You just have a second thought or a post-it note along the side of your thinking process that says, this is unbreakable. You can't break this. That's when it breaks. But it doesn't break. You just see that it is completely an illusion, comes apart. It's like awakening from a dream. You see that it's unreal. That's how you do it. And that's why I teach or emphasize intention, not intention and results, or what should I do and what's going to happen. Just the intention to see the truth and then receive whatever shows up, including the failure. Continue to do that, no matter what.
Thank you.
Sure.
Chokodao Bowing, you said if we see this, we won't see anything.
Yes.
And then if we do see something, that's illusion. And then the third thing you talked about was delusion. And I'm wondering if those three things are still happening in your person within awareness, or how does that work?
Still happening where?
In your person?
Well, everything's happening over here.
So sometimes you're not seeing anything,
No, I'm always not seeing anything.
and you're always seeing illusion.
Always seeing everything.
And the delusion part?
There's no part. The same thing everywhere, all the time. Even saying all the time is ridiculous because there's no time.
So when you talk about those three things, that's the same thing.
It's the same, but I talk about it that way because I have to emphasize the path, because people need to have a path, have to have a way of moving into this area that's so fraught with difficulty, passion, aggression, and ignorance. That makes us want to protect ourselves.
Thank you.
Does all thought arise from the three poisons?
It arises as that. So it arises from karma, from conditions. So, but the quality of it, the energy of it is to push, the energy of it is to pull. But that's just a way of describing the pushing, pulling, ignoring. The fundamental situation is. Help me do it, get closer to what you want to know. Because it's not that exactly, that's the way it looks.
Vaughn, I'm not sure if I can get closer, but all thoughts seem to have some flavor of one or the other, especially passion or aggression, passion, greed or hatred, so.
Okay, seems like,
And then we're adding. to
yes,
it.
we jump on there and try to push, pull, distract. And try to do something with it, anything to exact some kind of anything that we can do to give us the illusion that we're part of this, that we have a say-so about it, that we can push it away, that we can fluff it up, that we can distract ourselves or ignore it or not be susceptible to it. Ignorance.
Vaughn, can we have some awareness that that's happening and it still continues to happen?
Can you
Push
have
and
some
pull.
awareness that it happens and still have it continue?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, you might, because of the nature of cause and effect, the nature of karma, you may have to look at this. It might be different for this person or that person, but you personally may have to look at this for much longer than your own personal time clock is running. You may think, I've been looking at this for, just like the student who came to the teacher and was really upset because a student had given the teacher everything, and yet the teacher was still poking at them. It may take a long time to see this. And if you're lucky, you have a teacher, maybe not this useless old man, but you may have a teacher who can show you this, who can help you see this, so you start to turn away. He or she or they can help you turn back and look at it.
Future bowing. It seems like awareness needs to be prompted to show up. Like something, movement catches my eye and I'm aware of it, or I remember that I'm intending to be aware.
Yes,
Is awareness present even when unprompted?
yes. It's possible there's more awareness showing up just by sitting there and realizing you're not particularly aware. That's awareness. Awareness doesn't need a awareinator.
Is it still awareness before we realize we were unaware?
Sure enough. Isn't anyone going to ask me why I dissed myself? Is anyone interested in why I would say such a thing about this old teacher? Yes.
I wanted to ask about it, but I didn't know what to ask.
Oh, that's good enough.
Um,
Oh, you know now?
no,
Why would I sit up here and teach as if I know what I'm talking about and then diss myself? Any idea? I want to look humble. What would you think?
Oh, it just kind of fits the bill. So all kind of goes together.
What does?
The dissing and the not dissing.
Okay.
And you're funny.
You're a lot smarter than you look.
Thanks.
How's that for a compliment? Anyone else, especially in that area, if you can ask a question? Other than just, why did you say that?
Yeah, but if I've taken you as my teacher, why would you point at some other teacher and say maybe not this old man?
Why would I point to another teacher?
Mhm.
I don't know. Very good answer.
You Devine, do you give up on students?
Never. They've given up on me, though. I've yet to give up on anybody, even the ones who have given up on me. I think about them all the time. I wonder how much chaos they're dealing with, or how much chaos they're covering up. They got away from me. I'm an alligator. And I'm not purple. I don't give up on anyone. You can't. Not like this wonderful non-giver upper honor. You can't do it. The vow, that vow is powerful. Everyone who's received that vow should return to it as much as possible. Save all beings. Yes,
Jim bowing. If you're always instructing us to be aware, and that makes us see how we aren't aware, how is that still awareness?
you're aware that you're not aware. You're aware that you're avoiding something. Is that what you're doing?
How is the avoiding or the unawareness still awareness?
You're aware of it. It doesn't make any difference what you're aware of. That's why it doesn't make any difference what you do. I'm just saying you're clear about it. Are you aware? This is an old teaching and way before I showed up, or any of us showed up. Awareness, what this is. Albeit tasting like vinegar or tasting like Malbec. That's a wine. But
It seems like there's a lot I'm not aware of.
that's awareness. That's the reason I keep saying that to anyone who talks that way is to let you know that, so you can see the fundamental nature of awareness that is not picking and choosing. It's just aware. It's a key to the prison. You have to see it. And it's heartbreaking to watch people look at that key and just ignore it or throw it away. And it comes up temporarily and then they throw it away and look for some other way of working with it, painting the bars pink or something.
Is even the judgment that I'm not aware of something, is that ego?
Yes, but it's just not about getting rid of ego. It doesn't matter if it's ego, it doesn't matter what it is. It matters, are you aware of the structure that's showing up as ego, which grasps and you might have to go through that particular passage of self-centeredness, seeing the way you grasp and reject and shut down. Might have to do quite a bit of that. And with each person, it seems to be different. Everyone's ego structure, self-centered structure is wired quite a bit different than everyone around them. Similar. quite a bit different. And amazing, it's just amazing when the day will come when you, if you practice, when you realize you do not have to be somebody else. You get to actually be who you are. And that won't be a conclusion. If it's a conclusion, you missed what I just said and assumed you knew what I said.
Total bowing,
Shoto,
if, like in Junshu's example, if we're aware or not aware, if those are both awareness. What is it we're calling aware or not aware? Bowing,
well, we're tied into the objectivity of what we're aware, apparently. What I don't. Junchu's situation might be aware that she's not aware that she's ignoring or something, which wouldn't look like awareness. To ego. The ego gets a credential out of that. So just being aware that you're disconnecting, you're shutting down, you're turning away, you're distracting yourself in some way. That's all you have to do. You do not have to fix that. If you go about fixing that, you're validating that. Go ahead.
shadow bowing, is there something like an ego awareness and then a true awareness? Bowing,
No, it's all awareness. The differentiation can come up there because ego is trying to comment and get control on it. So it will differentiate between those because then it gets to be involved in what its big, it's the big project it has going on called thinking. That's the part of consciousness that thinks it thinks. But it thinks I think. But you don't think. You do not have any say so about that. If you think you do, confusion, ignorance, spinning. Go ahead. Takes a long time because it doesn't, it's not a relative thing like learning to build furniture or any other very, very relative thing that where you collect information. Spiritual path, as I see it, as I understand it, as far as the Buddha Dharma, it's not about getting more and more knowledgeable about something. There is a kind of knowledge that shows up, but it's not, it can't be credentialized. It just can't. If you try to do that, if you try to make it into some kind of an understanding that's a thought pattern that can be explained conceptually, then it just becomes part of the whole circularity of ego, the collection of antiques. Well,
no, thank you.
that's
Bowing, if everything is awareness, why even point us to that,
why I even point you to that.
to awareness?
Because if you don't know that, if you have some way of avoiding that, then you or me or all of us will continue to spin and going from lifetime to lifetime, hurting others, hurting ourselves, creating chaos in the world, albeit that in our family or possibly in our nation, if you have a lot of power. If you join groups of people who are very much antagonistic or prejudiced towards other groups of people out of ignorance of what this is, thinking there's such a thing as some other situation that is bad and needs to be destroyed or eliminated, controlled, locked up, tortured. You gotta get information out of them to find out where the rockets are hidden or something like that. It's just an ongoing difficulty, and a lot of it is very convincing. Apparently, it's convincing to millions of people. Getting to the tipping point.
Hogan bowing. On a beginner level, how do we talk about the benefits of meditation without being circular?
Without what?
Being circular or having a spiritual shop?
So it depends on the audience you have or the individual that you're talking to. You just start out by very simply just calming down. They just, you don't have, let the person know, which they probably all know already. You don't have any control over what's happening here. If they don't see that, then you might want to talk to them a little bit more to find out why they're interested in meditation at all. Do not sell meditation to anyone. If they're ready to meditate, they'll want to do that. They might not be sure why, but then you can talk to them a little bit about that. Am I getting close to what you're asking about? And then say, by sitting still, and being silent, that everything will start to settle down somewhat. It depends on the karma someone comes to you in the form of that particular body-mind complex. That could be, they might have time to practice to get conditioned themselves to just sit still and observe for a few years before the chaos sets in. But eventually the chaos will set in. More than likely, maybe not every time. And when it does, there needs to be someone who has developed a skill in receiving that, so they don't freak out and run the other way. So different ways of, this is one of the reasons the Tibetan practices are so loaded with forms. There are lots of intense forms, so they can get you to sit down and hold still for years, because that's what it takes. I teach that if necessary, but one that I think is necessary is shikantaza, sit down, hold still. And so to come back to your question, just to emphasize the slowing down part, cutting through the speediness of everyday life and their mind stream. Most people will make some sense out of that and will continue to return. If it's somebody that's pretty new to this, then you'll only be meditating for a few years before they start to get into some difficult straits. And that may not happen for many years. People that I've met in my practice as a teacher, some people it happens to as soon as they meet them. Some people it takes many, many years before the structure of the ego, or its and its fortress of protection, starts to come apart. And then that person either rededicates themselves or they attack me. Simply put. How's it look to you?
I have another question.
So you're not gonna tell me how it looks to you?
I'd prefer not, but do you want me to?
No, give me your other question. I'm joking.
Hogan bowing, what are the marks of chaos setting in for a meditator?
Pardon me?
What are the characteristics of chaos setting in for a meditator?
Marks of chaos that do what?
Hogan bowing, you said chaos will set in. What does that mean when a meditator
It's
is coming?
going to be, I'm just using that as a general word, some kind of chaos or some kind of difficulty could show up. And sometimes a person can stop meditating for a long time and then they realize that they really need to go and meditate, because that's the only thing that ever got them anywhere near to a deep understanding of what this is. They have so many ways that you cannot find a standard or a protocol that will explain it. It's so vastly different in each case. So the marks could be any number of things. And I'm not saying that everybody should meditate, probably. People need to do whatever they need to do, but if they come this way, then we look at it together, as you've noticed. to look at it together, decide what practice is best for you, not you do this blanket practice necessarily. Have a few minutes if there are other questions. No, God.
No, bowing. A question from Spoolstring in the UK. How can attaching to or not attaching to a self be a cause of delusion? Bowing.
Yeah, attaching to a self will, because the self has ideas and opinions and judgments and evaluations, will take you in circles. So you'll be deluded by the illusion. And the other one, not attaching to a self. I don't know, probably wouldn't be, but it could be some. But it wouldn't be particularly problematic. Yishin,
Bowing. What is your seeing anything? What is you not seeing anything when you see us and things around? Bowing.
what is my not seeing anything?
Yes, you said you don't see anything.
Well, yes, it's difficult to explain that because obviously I'm, I know who raises their hand, or I'm seeing people here, some frowning, some smiling, some sound asleep. So I'm seeing something, but what I'm saying is there's nothing has any import as a separate being. So there's no separation. The other way I've said that it looks to me as I don't see anything but myself everywhere. It's not me, the old man here, not that self, but consciousness only, which I recently said, escape to consciousness. I don't think that really applies in a certain sense. There's nowhere to go. But it's like that if I use those images, maybe that will be helpful. You're looking right at the key, awareness. That's a key with a big A on one end. It probably sounds quite silly, but that's all right. More?
Thank you. Not about this. When you introduce the idea of seeing the truth from the other teachers just a few minutes ago, I'm wondering whether.
I take that back.
Okay, I don't have to ask the question.
Good. If I were to go in that direction, I'd have to say, I'm sure there are many teachers who could help you see your true nature, but I don't know who they are. I don't know any personally that are living. Oh, I know a couple of dead ones. Yes.
Shadow bowing, when you say you don't see anything, is that like in your opening the I mind practice, the A spot?
It's not the A spot. It's when you move from the A spot to the all spot. More like that. The A spot vanishes. The A spot is more like the ego. What you're looking at, what you're looking at, what you're looking at, what you're looking at. But you do that, but you're not trapped by it. So it has no more special significance other than to work with a way of working with awareness. It's a different practice. It's meant to work with visual, the paintings and anything visual. Well, you can use it sitting in this room. You can do it here.
Shadow bowing. Sometimes the idea of driving somewhere and we forget that we're driving, but we end up there is used. And I feel that way with my life a lot, where I'm thinking about something else and there's like a split between what I'm seeing and what I'm thinking about what I'm doing.
Oh, you meant to go see Ash, and you ended up in the monastery. Yeah. What did she say about that? She shrugs. That's a good sign. Go ahead.
Shadow bowing, is there some need for those things to synchronize or line up?
There's no need for anything. No.
Bowing.
You see,
How did your ego respond when you stop seeing
come
anything?
after me again. You're talking about my ego?
I'm talking about the time when you start seeing anything, when you started seeing anything. How
That was 83 years ago when I started seeing. Let me tell you what I saw. Go ahead. I'm sorry I'm interrupting. I don't mean to make light of your inquiry.
I noticed that my ego feels very uncomfortable when my perception is changing, and I don't know how to connect it with what you are describing as not seeing anything. But I'm wondering how to deal with ego being frightened by those kind of changes in perception.
Well, first of all, I can say you're not going to probably have, when I say I don't see anything, that may not show up for a while. But it doesn't show up. It's something that you just stop covering that up. But it doesn't have an appearance as something. It's always been there. It's always the case. And this is where all the confidence comes from. You just look and you don't see anything but this, so there can't be anything else but this, because there isn't anything else but this. So whatever comes up in the mind stream is it, because there is no opposite to it. What's the Sanskrit for that? Oh, that guy behind you.
Good.
No opposite?
Huh?
For no opposite?
Yeah. How about for consciousness?
Yeah.
Not about, I'm not gonna put you on the spot. Okay. What I just said. Did you follow me? Eugene,
I followed you. I just
you aren't going to be able to figure this out. So, your way of processing everything is to figure it out and show, how about this? Quite often your questions are, what is the difference between this pomegranates and an acorn squash? And then because I'm just such a wonderful question answer, I'll tell you. But I'm waiting for you to see that there isn't any difference between anything. You have to see it. And when you do, there may be a question, but there won't be many. Yes, sir.
Shadow bowing, why do you meet the student in the question instead of correcting the question? Bowing.
Because correcting the question will cause them to think there's a right question. Another way of asking that same question that is less submerged in concepts, and there isn't. There's just consciousness only. Well,
Shadow bowing, so like an advanced student with a really refined question, their question is just as confused as the very first.
I've yet to meet an advanced student. You either see this or you don't. That doesn't mean, going along the lines of what you're asking, that there aren't some people who are very, very close to this. You could say they're at the tipping point. They see it, but they still don't quite trust us. So I don't meddle with them much at all. More?
No, thank you.
William,
William Bowing, is it possible to glimpse this and then lose it?
again, sir.
Is it possible to glimpse it and then lose it? Or fill it in?
What you're glimpsing is an idea about it. but you're glimpsing it in such a way that you may have never thought about it before. So your glimpse is very powerful, but it's about, if you can't glimpse this and leave it. If you realize it, you realize it, because, and why? This is a reason, it's not an experience. If you're glimpsing something and you lose it, it means you had an idea, or albeit a very highly formed and sophisticated concept about the truth. But if you see it, you just know, and not, this knowledge is not without an opposite. It is without an opposite. There's no ignorance there. It's just knowledge. It's just wisdom. And as I'm saying, over and over, I highly recommend it. Just continue to look. Don't let the so-called failure get you down over and over and over again when you get up from the cushion and feel worse. Or if you glimpse some concept or idea about it and feel like you're onto something, you're not onto anything. But you may need to have some of that in order to just give you the impetus or the encouragement to continue, get back to that cushion over and over and over. Get back to the 3 jewels, the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha.
Om bowing. We're about to go into Ango, an intense month of meditating.
Yes.
Why should we do this?
It's just a way of doing it as a community, Sangha, and doing something that is a recommended practice. And I will be in here just as much as I can. I think, as far as I'm concerned, since we decided on this, Jada and I more or less decided, we talked about this, how important this is, that we really need to come in here and practice together as a Sangha. The Shambhala Sangha, which I was involved with, went back when it was Vajradhatu Sangha. The very first Datsun, or month-long meditation I did, was in 1975. Very powerful practice, along with my daily and monthly Nyintan, or all-day sitting. To sit down, it was a powerful practice to go in and sit. And that we were sitting 10 hours a day for 1 month. So that
Om you're saying powerful. What do you mean by powerful practice?
just that day after day after day, you lost, you didn't get anywhere. It was disappointing. It increased the awareness of how disappointing it is. It just wears the ego out. Ego doesn't go away. It's not going to go away in a month. But it gives you something. I did a few of those, plus solitary retreats over the years. But even 20 years later, I still was not clear on what this was. Even though I'd been sitting a lot. This takes a long time. And it will, as I've said before, it will sneak up on you. Maybe you don't want it. Maybe you just want to be kind of weak. But if you want it, it's there. You can get it. It's possible. There's no guarantee, but you don't really need a guarantee. If you have the intention to do this, that's your guarantee. You intend to do this and do it. Be relentless about it. Be stubborn about it. Go into it and do it. Do it. Intention, with no results. That's what the Datsun was about. And that's the Datsun is what caused me to want to do that. In our situation, because I could see that people were not sitting enough, and they may not sit during this one. It's not required. I don't require things here like that. I require other things, and some of the things I require, people don't even know about it because I don't enforce them. If I did start enforcing everything, there would be a whole lot of people that wouldn't come here at all. That may happen. I don't know. Well,
What would make you require something, or what?
I have no idea. I'm just looking at it every 30 seconds. And I do not come to conclusions. You watched me not come to a conclusion today. You know what I'm referring to? It looked like I was coming to a conclusion, but I didn't. Why? I don't come to conclusions. Conclusions come to me. And that's how I know what to do next. I'm told by everything what to do next. It's not like somebody speaking in my ear. It's just obvious what needs to happen next. Just like the person that came in and tried to change this structure of this whole monastery by having me removed from it based on their insane ideas about it. So far, it hasn't come apart yet, but maybe it needs to. I don't think so. I think we need to keep going. Train the mind, save all beings. Find out who you are. Don't get your identity from anyone. Find out who you are. Thank you so much.
May the merit of this penetrate into all places, so that we and every sentient being together can realize the Buddha's way. Jiho-san shi shifu, shi-son musa moko-sa. Directions, the 3 times, all Buddhas, all venerable ones, Bodhisattvas, Mahasattvas, the great Prajna, Paramita. We'll take a 5-minute break to reset the Zendo before returning to sit in the evening service.